All right, chat. So my most hated character in any fighting game that I played against, that is going to be Nine the Phantom. This character was mad OD. Now, if you don't know anything about BlazBlue or this character in particular, let me explain what this character actually brought to the table, what she actually could do. Now, if you don't know BlazBlue, everybody in BlazBlue pretty much have a drive button, which is their D button, that is going to give them a unique ability within the game. Now, Nine was definitely a little bit more unique than that in the fact that she actually had normals that gave her the ability to use spells with her drive button, which was going to be her D button. And basically the A normals were water, the B normals were wind, and I believe the C normals were fire. And basically different combinations of her normals gave her different things. So if you did like 2 waters and 1 wind, that give you a different spell. 2 fires, 1 water, that gives you a different spell. 2 waters and a fire, that's a whole different spell. So there's a lot of combinations. You could do 3 of each type as well. So there's a bunch of combinations for different spells that she had at her disposal, and she could just do a bunch of different things. Like there were 2 spell combinations and 3 spell combinations. It didn't always have to be a 3 spell combination. So she had a lot of different tools at her disposal when it comes to her spells, on top of having very diverse combo sets and very good range. Now, she was a very good space control character because she had normals that were magic and didn't have no hurt box on them. So she has normals that don't have a hurt box. She has a teleporting dash, which I didn't mention before. So her dash is a teleport, and it is frame 1 projectile invul and frame 2 hit invul. So if you don't put a perfect meaty on her, then she just dash through your pressure. So people will try to like wake up dash and try to see if they can get out of your pressures sometimes if you didn't get, you know, perfect meaties and stuff. So on top of this, if she does have 1 stock, which means she has 1 stack of anything on her, she had access to a DP to use. Now, it was a pretty slow DP, but it was a DP and nonetheless. So she had access to very, you know, decent defensive options at her disposal with the dash through thing, and of course being able to have a DP period. And of course she had to like wake up supers and stuff like that too. So her defense wasn't that bad. Now, what actually made this character crazy was some of the moves actually being overheads and lows, like I stated before. So that rock that you see, that used to be a double hitting plus 22 on block rock. So it was a double overhead, which means there's a mechanic in this game that allows you to get a sense of invul, and you can use invul to like get through certain attacks. However, because that's double hitting and the fast she recovers, because of obviously being plus 22, you can pretty much punish her with that coming at you. Like, you had to like pretty much, a lot of characters had to like hold that situation. It was very hard for characters to deal with the rock. The fact that she could just do this in a block string, B+, and even if you try to do the invul through it, you kind of were too far to even do anything, or it would just catch you out of your invul. So she had that. Then she had like a seed, which was like a root, and it was like a double hitting low. I believe it was 2 hits. She could do that. And the thing is, she could do these attacks in the air or ground. So she can let the seed go while she's in the air, and it's set up for unblockable. So she had unblockables at her disposal. She had plus 22 rocks. She has teleports. She has DPs. Like, it was a lot to deal with. When you dealt with even just a solid 9, it was some of the scariest stuff to deal with when it came to this game. Like, this very strong character. A lot of people were doing good stuff with this character. All right, so this is KSB 2016 in Japan. I believe this is Futaba's Izanami versus Sadi 9. So this is a pretty interesting matchup. I played Izanami, and this matchup was very frustrating. Now, if you don't know about Izanami, the main thing you need to know about in this matchup is she goes into a form where she can't block. Being that she goes into a form that can't block, along with the mobility that we were talking about that 9 has with the teleports, along with her main pressure tools that extends her pressure being projectiles, which 9 has frame 1 projectiles, and she goes in a form where she can't block against a character that has almost like full screen, half screen normals, right? So very frustrating matchup to deal with. Now, Izanami, very strong character, without a doubt. In this version of the game, easily one of the best. Easily top 3 in the game. People argue top 1. But this matchup in particular is very hard for her to deal with. Super hard. And it was a reason why I really disliked this character. Just because of the things that this character could get away with, and the things you had to do in order to fight this character. You pretty much had to like have a brand new unique game plan specifically for this character, and like one other character that you had to do it for, but it was slightly different for the other character, which was Rachel. But this character in particular, you had to have like a completely different game plan and a lot of option select stuff to deal with her movement, because when she dashes at you, not only does she can dash at you one time, but she can choose where she dashes next. So she could dash forward and dash like up. She could dash back and stuff like that. So you had to look to see where she could dash, because she has 2 dashes at her disposal. So here we go. Bam, bam, bam. She dropped the combo there. But there's the rock, right? Plus 22 is still her turn. Oh, she also has a tracking full screen overhead. I forgot to talk about that. Yeah. So full screen overhead. The tracking isn't that good, but it is tracking. So, you know, if you're not moving around a lot, then that could definitely catch you. And being you're playing a character that doesn't have the ability to block certain times, that is something that's going to be very detrimental. So as you can see, oppression session in the actual corner right here. So what she did right here, so one of the things she could do is call a little fairy, and the fairy does like 3 hits. So you're just locked down by the fairy. Now, if you hit her during this time, the fairy will go away, but she's doing normals the entire time this stuff is happening, and then like dashing at you. And once again, the dashes have complete invul, and then it has like a bit of recovery, but then she can like not go into the recovery and do the second dash. Now, when she does the second dash, it has a little bit more recovery, but she can like go into normals and stuff from it as well. So now this is the mode where Izanami can't block. So she's getting access to the bits, but she can't block in that mode. And you see how big the normals are on this character. So you have to be very careful with how you move with Izanami. Keep in mind, Izanami also have below average life. So below average life, on top of the bits just don't have a lot of hit stun on them. So hit stun and block stun. So if you do manage to like catch 9, it's very hard for you to hit confirm. And in this game, like, you know, you got to deal with like tech buttons and stuff. That was the DP we were talking about. So when she does the DP, not only is it a DP, but it gives her a buff of the element of which the DP was of. So whatever, so all of the DPs are like pretty much the same, but when she does the DP, whatever the dominant element was that she was in at that time, it will give her a buff of that element, meaning she would do more damage off of the normals pertaining to the element, or her drive button if it has something to do with the element. So yeah, very, very annoying thing to deal with. Playing a neutral out here. See, Izanami really don't use her burst like defensively like this, like other characters. Instead, she usually use her burst like that, just to get people off her. You see that a lot with this character, just because of how her defense is. Her defense wasn't considered very good. You had to actually have pretty decent defense, where she doesn't have mashable normals when you play with Izanami. So you have to deal with not having pretty good defense. She has a pretty good anti-air though. That is the best thing about her character. Her anti-air is pretty nuts. But as you can see, the neutral is pretty wild. Got tagged there, and here we go. So she got like, she could do that and then like reset into this, and they had to deal with this and like try to get out. Very difficult to deal with. You see, she's trying to set up going inside of her stance, because her neutral isn't that strong unless she have the bits out. But she has to play in a mode where she just can't block versus a character that has normals this big. Here goes the plus 22 rock, and yeah, that's all she wrote. It's pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie. It could be very frustrating to deal with this character. Some of the best Izanami players actually switched to 9, and some of them who didn't switch to 9 had 9 as a sub pocket, just in case they played matchups that they didn't like playing against. I know some Izanamis didn't like fighting against Tager, and of course they didn't like fighting non, so some of them rather do the non-mirror match. It was that serious. Like, there were just certain things that this character just had a hard time dealing with. And I think it's pretty interesting to actually talk about if we're talking about Izanami in that sense, because she was considered very strong, but you did not see a lot of her tournament results inside of America at the very least. But obviously we know that tournament results don't equal character strength. A character strength on paper can mean something different compared to what you actually see as far as tournament results go, right? That's why you see variances of tier lists and stuff like that sometimes. Yeah, it just happens. But yeah, so talking about 9 more here. So if you see, she's dashing around the screen. So Izanami's trying to play at a distance to where 9 has to try to approach her, and she's trying to get a good tag with the bits. So she's just tagging her with the bits and hoping to get a good hit to where she can actually confirm off that. Because once she confirm off that hit, then Izanami is a very scary character to deal with. Because then her Oki is very oppressive. When she sets up the ribcage, she has pretty much half hyper armor. It's very cheap. Very, very cheap stuff. So once again, just playing the neutral right here. This is before Izanami got nerfed, so the bits now come back slower than before. So there's even less time for her to where she can't like remove herself from the unblockable state. And they nerfed like how her ribcage work a little bit and stuff too. So overall, a nerf version of her inside of CF2. Still very strong character, but not nearly as oppressive as she was. There we go. Bam. Yeah, it's rough. So Izanami has one of the best backdashes in the game too, but versus something like Nan with something tracking like that, it's kind of hard to deal with. Here we go, the rock combos. You're going to set up this, bam, bam. You can end it right here. This is where you end it with, and then you have to deal with the fairy. So fairy going. Izanami's trying to get started. Got tagged again. It's hard because, like I said, the pressure that Izanami does is going to be projectile based. So everything's a frame trap with projectiles, but it doesn't matter because she's projectile one invo with her dashes. It's very hard to stop this character from doing what she does. It's like, if you want to talk about one of the most like confusing matchups I've ever played, trying to figure out exactly what are the answers, this is one of them. It is extremely oppressive to look at. She just has so many tools. I feel like this matchup probably got worse in the next version, or CF2. But you see, it's very hard. Like, Izanami has to stay at a distance, try to get her hit. So just playing a neutral out here. I don't know why they keep putting up barrier like that. I guess they're trying to, yeah. So right here, this is a checkmate situation right here. So she's in a mode where she can't block, and she did a full screen super. She could have did something. She tried to put up the actual rib cage, but it wasn't fast enough, so she actually just got tagged. It's very sad. So yeah, this character, man, she just oppresses you very hard. But even with my character, besides my character off the bat, we could just look at another example and showcase how oppressive this character can actually be. All right, so Carl is also another jacked up character. I'm not gonna lie, this character was really messed up in the version. Carl's always been really pretty good, pretty much since I've been playing Blaze, but he's always been a very strong character. In this, of course, in this version, he's still got unblockables, very cheap setups, very oppressive pressure. But the thing is, of course, he has to get in. That's the one thing. He doesn't have a traditional run, so he has like a little step dash, so he's a little bit more slower in like his approach. But once he gets in and he gets started blocked, and like, you know, he knocks you down or he gets you in a sandwich, it's very hard for you to get out. So if you get sandwiched between them or he puts you in the corner, it is oppressive. So here it goes. Yeah, it just starts happening. So yeah, Carl pressure is about to happen. This character is very scary to deal with. A lot of different, very strong pressure. A lot of mix-ups to deal with as well during this. Here we go, knockdown. So yeah, Nan's getting out. Use that angle. And then once she gets out, though, once she's in the neutral, this is going to be a matchup where she definitely can use her space control a lot better. And like than the matchup we were like seeing before, because she don't have bits coming at her. She do have to be wary of the doll, like doll moves and stuff like that. But she can definitely utilize her space control tools a lot better. So you'll see a lot more of the methodical gameplay we were talking about before. There he goes. This game, you do get throw combos. So locking him out of his own burst. Trying to secure a kill. I don't think it's going to kill though, is it? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, the big boy at the end. Look at that huge 6C, man. So huge normals, just smacking the doll. Like, you see how much life she did on the doll from that far away. Like, she can play at a very safe range. I believe that move she just did also has head involved. I don't want to mistake things. She is in Blaze Blue tag as well. So some things I know she has in this game, or she doesn't have in that. She has in that game, she doesn't have in this game. Like, I think she has a downwards actual teleport from the air that she could do in that game. Is kind of nuts. Knockdown again. Pressure. So once again, this scary pressure. I think he's being a little bit wary because she does have a DP on deck, I think. Or she has a skill on deck. Yeah, it just... Yeah, once you get knocked down by... That was mask up. He did overhead RC into overhead. But yeah, so this is both showcasing like how strong both these characters are. Of course, Nan being the strong character she is, and of course, yeah, he's being strong too. So it's like she can do her spells in the air and on the ground, which makes it really impressive too. He's trying to go for the DP. You can see it's pretty slow, so he was able to punish it here, but she burst out. Playing a neutral. So the doll, you can't hit it until it's actually like moving. That's one thing. So she's trying to play her spacing and punish the doll, but you know, he is trying to protect the doll so it doesn't get hit when he actually tries to use it to move in and stuff like that. Wow, her air grab is ridiculous too. That's one thing about this character. Her air grab range was absolutely insane. So it's okay if she dropped her combos because she's okay. But she has so many good spells. So this one right here drops like a bunch of meteors on you and it moves forward. So very good for like her pressure game. Plus 22 rock, you really can't move. He was able to get out anyway. She mistimed her 60. Here we go. Same combo again. It is like you get to choose what you want out of the setup, which is crazy. So when you're doing like the air variation, you basically like mix up the amount of attacks you're doing and then end with the knockdown. So you get to choose what type of spell you pretty much want to end your combo with. When you come down, you get to sort of let it go with your like your JD. Almost like a safe jump. Ooh, very tricky. Very scary situation. Oh, but she ran away with a timeout. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Dang, Carl. So as you guys can see, 9 is a very, very strong character. Obviously, my character was very strong as well. But 9 was just very annoying to deal with for sure with everything she had at her disposal. Now, is she the most broke character that BlazBlue has ever seen? No, not by a long shot. BlazBlue had some very broken stuff back in the day. And this is far more balanced compared to some other things that this game actually had in the past, like before my time. Like I've seen some things. It gets bad. But is she annoying to deal with? For sure. Especially with the character that I played. It was the most annoying match for me to ever play in any fighting game. And that's why I'm putting her as my most hated character that I ever fought in any fighting game. That is going to be 9 the Phantom for sure. Wait, you fought Kokonoe and thought that was okay? Hey man, I'll never complain about Kokonoe ever again, man. I promise. I'll never complain about that character ever again ever since I fought 9. For real.